So I'd like to ask some
No, I'm
questions.
just trying to have a conversation with the commander and.
Oh, you're welcome to come on in.
Yeah, I have nothing to.
Come on in,
whatever,
yeah, absolutely.
You're a senior member.
You're a senior member?
I have nothing as far as that goes.
I don't need an
Um, So, I'm just gonna go over some of the goal things, some of the things.
Well, actually, I have questions first, though. I would really appreciate some answers.
Hey, Isaac, do you have your, the drones available? 'Cause they-
I do. Give me 5 minutes and I'll go out there and we'll get started. Okay. So, why are you here?
I was here because Colonel Plum asked me to take over the squadron.
Why?
Apparently, there were some things that need to be fixed.
What things?
I assume since you're the commander, you already know.
None of us were informed anything.
So
So-
Saturday, when we came, what other 8 things did they not complete out of that list?
Sure. Here, I'll bring it up real quick here.
Because that was one of their reasons of why.
Well, no, it's just some of the goals that every squadron's asked to do, and I know you know what the goals are.
You're saying that we did not meet those goals? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying just what the data is saying. So if you give me a moment, I'll go ahead and pull it right up, right here.
Saturday, we did say that you didn't meet those.
Sure, of
We
course.
did.
Well, let's send that out. Can we send that out in an email?
Sure.
Since you're really good at
Well, it's been
at
classified up until now, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
No.
Because nobody had any answers a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
We've been asking for answers in an email for
yeah.
a month.
And who are you?
I'm Steve Oppenheim.
You're Steve Oppenheim. And who is that? Please help me out. I've never met you before, actually.
I haven't met you either. I was asked to come and meet his deputy.
Why?
I don't know why.
So
Okay,
you're just following
so
orders for no
you-
reason.
I am following orders from my higher echelon.
You're following orders from your higher echelon. Okay, that is interesting. That is interesting. Because how do you know you're doing the right thing?
That's a good question.
Because integrity is part of it.
I'll let you know.
As far as I know,
Yeah,
to be in command, you are at the pleasure of the higher command.
that is very interesting. So, if your higher commander has some reason that he does not like you, he can come in the middle of your meeting in front of all of your cadets with absolutely zero reason at all, and that's okay.
Okay, so I just downloaded it. So I can pop it on the screen if you like, or so everybody can see it.
Go for
Make
it.
life a little easier. Sure. Do that real quick.
But to answer, would you please answer his question?
Is that how you would have handled it?
No, it's not how I would handle it.
How would you have handled it?
This, I'm not in a position to handle that. So
Well,
that's not the way I would have done it.
How
Well,
were
what
they in a
would you have
position to
done it?
handle it like that?
Because he's the wing commander.
But sir, you were in a position to handle it that way. Any way you wanted because you're an adult, and it's a volunteer unit, and if you didn't agree with them, you could say, let's do this a different day, I'll be there.
Because you guys
It's
knew,
volunteer.
You're right, I could have done that.
but you guys
But I
knew
did
well
not.
in advance that they were having open house that night.
I did not.
I'm sure you didn't. But
said
wing
you
headquarters
found out
didn't.
I only found out barely an hour before.
You said 2 at the meeting,
Well,
so.
1 to 2, yeah.
So this was would you characterize this as a well-planned out transition then? Yes or no?
As of right now, no. But
Then why do it?
Why do it?
What? Because
You know,
So on a whim,
Colonel
so
said-
what I'm getting, what I'm getting though, is that on a whim, an hour's notice, on a whim, the wing commander calls you up and says, hey, these guys don't have the right data in the system. They deserve to be fired from their jobs. Would you come out and help me fire them, please? And you said, okay. Yes or no?
that is not how it was
So
transpired.
then, could you
Then,
please give us a
but you did
step-by-step
make the decision within an
of-
hour.
So you knew ahead of time you were doing this, but nobody informed them. That's
Yeah.
what we're getting at.
I don't know what
so
transpired
are
between
we
Colonel
gonna
Plum.
move forward?
Yeah,
No, we're
yes.
not.
We need
Okay.
honesty.
No, because we need to get past this part first.
Yeah.
We need something real.
And
How are we
Because
supposed to
do you
let
not
our
understand
cadets
that when you guys
be
came in the way that you
your
did?
guys' control if we don't have trust? They don't have trust in any of you. They have no trust in you. You're causing havoc through this whole fucking thing.
And you're giving
And-
CAP.
But I would like to know,
black
I would
eye,
like to know
brass.
why it is. You want to move forward, but we haven't even gotten to the why we're here yet. And you don't even know why, but you're okay with it. Because the wing commander said so.
I'm still stuck at it's a volunteer organization. You're a grown-ass man, and you can make a choice yourself because you don't have to follow planning like a sheep.
Would you be willing,
You know.
if us parents step out, would you
It's
be willing
not.
to have an
It's
honest
not actually an
conversation with
order.
our
It's
seniors?
volunteer.
With our former leadership that should have happened beforehand?
I'm
Willing
trying
to
to assume that it
actually-
did, but I don't
Because
know.
otherwise, he's gonna do the same thing that he's been doing.
Because I
And
think
he's
they
gonna
deserve
say,
some honesty too.
Because the parents are in here, we can do nothing. Okay, so.
Well, I trust my leaders to be very transparent with me. That's the only reason I'm willing to step out.
Probably an immoral order. They should all have been acting like this for years.
Sorry.
These people sitting on the table. They're just a little upset. Yeah, I'm sure you can understand if you were in the same place. Understand that? Yeah, so I, yeah. And I'm sure you can too.
Oh, yeah.
Understand, yeah.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to move
Yeah,
forward.
I know. I get it.
Alright, I'm also gonna see if I can get Colonel Plum here as well. At least on the phone, if that's okay. I'd like to also have him on the phone.
In the back of my truck, I think you know how to use those. There's a rolling case that has the drones in it.
I'm just waiting to hear back from Plum. So.
While we're waiting, you can go ahead and tell us the numbers.
Sure. Like I said, this is a QUCA report. It's kind of what CMP uses to kind of judge how things are kind of going. It goes off of this is mid-year, starts on August 31st, 24 to August 31st, 25, basically is what it is. I'm sure
Okay.
you've seen it before.
Alright.
You've seen it multiple times. It's basically the easiest way to get the goals put out. It's an easy thing to follow, which works out pretty well. Give me one moment. Okay. He's currently involved right now at work. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so the first thing I always look at is, and Gary will tell you the same thing. Gary Gross, I'm sure you know who he is, Cadet Programs Officer. Okay, so when I look at these, this is kind of how we judge, okay, are the cadets, I always look at them and go, I never look at the 25 plus, there's only a few squadrons that have that. I look at the Curry in 8 weeks. There is no reason why we couldn't do a Curry within basically 4 weeks, because they basically every week they get everything done. You follow that, and every cadet can have it within 4 weeks, which is why I see there's only 1, but we have 5 that don't have it yet, which is why we have a no. Okay, Wright Brothers, again, I take that one with a grain of salt. That one you do 45% with Wright Brothers. We're not quite there yet, but with Cadet Graham. With the numbers there, we just need a couple more and boom, got that one. Cadets with O flights. There are cadets that haven't had an O flight in over a year.
Why is that?
Well,
Because pilots don't show up here to give O flights.
You gotta bring
We
up.
don't have any pilots. We don't have an aircraft.
You gotta bring up the requests submitted compared to the O flights available.
I've been speaking with Moffett, and we've been trying to get O flights here.
No, hold on. You've been trying to get O flights here, but you were currently quoting that as a reason why we failed.
No, I'm not saying you failed because I haven't gone through everything yet. In fact, all that CAP is asking is to hit 6. That's all they're at. They're not asking to hit all 10. They're asking for 6. That's all. And I was just pointing out O flights because they're starting up again. Not that you failed at it, because if that was the case, most squadrons would have, okay? So,
But most squadrons didn't get their leadership replaced.
well, if you remember back in Douglas County, we had our leadership taken too. I don't know, I can't remember if you were there at that time or not. It's been 30 years.
I left because
You left, okay.
of reasons.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine,
yeah,
that's
because
fine.
that's current, 30 years ago.
Well, keep in mind that a lot of squadrons have had this happen, okay? All right. General ES, I understand that there's a plan in place for that, from my understanding.
We've got more people with ES than any
You
other
do.
unit in this wing, I'd be willing to bet, because how many ground teams are there, fully qualified ground teams are there in
We have
Nebraska?
a couple. There's a couple.
Yeah, most of them don't have a qualified ground team leader unless somebody pencil whipped their quals.
Well, I can't
Moving
attest
on.
to that. I'm not an ES anymore. I don't really do a whole lot there. I work with the Chaplain Corps, doing that type of disaster stuff. So the next one here is the AE activity or STEM kit. What they're asking for there is that if you're following the program that National has, there's an activity you do each month in aerospace, whether it's like clouds and bottles or something of that nature.
Yes, we understand. Please move on.
Okay.
I understand how to do
Well,
aerospace.
I figured that. You asked me to explain it. and that's
No,
what
I
I'm
asked you
doing.
to give us a
Aerospace award.
reason, not to explain to me how the program
Okay.
works.
Well, from my understanding, there's also been some other issues, logistical issues.
So hold on a second. Before we get to that,
Okay.
these are why.
No.
These are enough.
This is what
This is enough to replace the commander. Yes or no?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
I'm just
Because every unit in the wing is making it on
that
those
is a
numbers.
wing. That is a wing. These are the wing goals as well.
Well, I know, but I wanna
But-
see the other numbers compared to ours to have a fair look at them.
Okay.
But okay, hold on. While you're doing that, so this is why you would come in on a meeting night. Where's the warning letter? Where's the letter that tells us that we're
That's-
supposed to do a better job? Where's the where are the steps
That is
of?
between you and Colonel Plum. I don't have access to that. That's a
Because it
personnel
doesn't
thing.
exist.
'Cause it doesn't
never
exist.
And that's
happened.
between you and Colonel Plum.
Oh.
I
He's
don't
too
have-
gutless
I
to
see.
show up.
So it's between us and Colonel Plum. Got it. That's
Well,
what we needed to
again,
know. Okay.
Just as if I wasn't doing my job or some other commander wasn't doing their job, that he would pull them out.
What would
So-
you, just as a
But if
curiosity,
it happened to you and you had no notice, no idea it was going on,
Well,
you'd be good with that,
I would
right?
ass-
No problem at all, that
You
would be
just
the
step
best
I
thing
would
ever.
assume that there'd be reasons behind it.
Yes, I do, shut the hell up.
Sir, let's try to keep everything simple, please. Okay? I would assume that I was screwing up in some way, shape, or form. I would assume that we would have had talks, a Form 40, something of that nature.
And if we'd had that, it wouldn't be an issue.
Well, again, that's a personnel action that I'm not privy to. Okay? I'm not at the wing.
so if the wing commander is not doing these things, why would you suppose that is? Why would you say he went to the 100% drastic action of removing command without making any attempt
I
to help us improve it all? The only help we've gotten is you being forced on us, and now you want to know why we're struggling to move forward.
Again,
You're not, hold on a second, but you're not seeing it from our point of view. You're coming in and now you're telling us everything that needs to be done, down to writing the units. You have no idea. Our cadets are the ones that write the meeting plans. You don't know any of that. This is the first time you're sitting down with us a month later. And yet you're helping us based off of some numbers from a computer program.
again, I was sent here to look at the things.
Without asking why. You
I
did
have-
not ask him why.
Well, no, you're sent here to look at the things. What things were you sent here to look at? Because this,
Well, this
Isn't
was the
disqualified.
first. This was the
Could
first.
you have come and helped us without us getting fired? Yes or no?
isn't there a program for that
It's
wing?
called a staff assistance visit.
Could you have helped us without us getting fired? Yes or no?
Probably, I wasn't asked to do that. I was asked
Oh.
to take over the squadron. Okay,
Did you
my
ask any
assumption-
questions at all?
I did. I asked.
And what did he
are you
tell you?
looking- What are you looking to do here?
No,
That's what I
but you
asked.
didn't ask him why.
It's not my point to ask. I assume he knows his reasons, and as a commander, I would assume he has his reasons,
See,
or he was told
I
from
disagree
above.
with you there.
And you can
absolutely
disagree with
disagree
me.
with
You
you.
have every right to disagree with me, but I can't speak for Colonel Plum.
But you
don't
are
have
because
that
you're the
information.
chain of command now.
I'm his subordinate. Okay, that
But
is
you
how it works.
represent him to us because you are the unit commander.
Well, and there you go.
And so you don't have answers for us.
I unfortunately don't have direct answers. Again, that
But
is
you're willing to
between
go
you-
along with what he did. I don't think that this part is sinking in.
Well-
Your willingness to participate in this is what makes it wrong. The core values of integrity and volunteer service, this is not how you treat members.
And you're World War II answer of following orders? That doesn't make sense. Have you ever served?
No, unfortunately, I did not.
Have you ever served, sir?
No.
I did 29 years. And I've told real colonels, not this pretend crap, to fuck off, and I'm not doing that, or my platoon's not doing that. Because it was wrong. You always find out what's going on. You just don't blindly walk into crap.
And you're okay with this, Colonel Curtis? Do you think you're doing the right thing? No, you're a member now, and you're now our testing officer. You're part of it.
He's wing testing
He's
officer,
wing-
he's not part of the
Plum,
Well, the email that we got-
Put him in the thing. I was asking Plum if he was a test control officer because I got that email at like 2:00 on top of a ladder about the Graham needed the test, and I knew you were a wing testing control officer.
We have a testing officer. Tell me
Oh,
why our
excellent.
testing officer was removed.
Okay. So he was supposed to. I just was double checking to make sure he was a wing testing control officer.
Why
still, but
was our wing testing? Why was our testing control officer removed?
It wasn't. She was not supposed to be removed. He went and I was checking on whether he was still the wing testing control officer because I honestly didn't know. Because then he has domain over all the units to be able to do any type of testing needed. It was short notice.
Short
So-
notice for what?
For the
we
results to
have-
do the Wright brothers test.
But we have a testing officer.
Understood, but are they here today?
Not now that she got
As of
fired.
this, no.
They were planning to be here until she got fired, and then she's
Okay, and that's what we were not aware of. We were not told or shown that she was removed from the position. We had him come as a backup in case your testing control officer couldn't come, and then unfortunately the circumstance that she was removed from the position.
Why was that not communicated? We're going to bring in someone just in case as a backup to make sure this gets done. Nobody told us that. Did you get that email?
Nope.
Okay, once again, I believe that you're absolutely.
Anyone's welcome at any cap meetings. You guys can come to the 99th or an Omaha meeting.
That's not the point that we're making
But
here.
that is the point. He's here.
No. You
as-
said that you did it in case she wouldn't show up. Because you assumed that
there's
she
been
might
so much
not.
Animosity between everyone. And
You're
the
right.
struggle with
Why is
communication,
that?
We are bringing in someone who we knew was reliable, who could come tonight. because
So
this could have
how do you know that she's not reliable?
Well, hey,
How do you know that she's not reliable? She's here every week.
okay,
Every week for
you told me
years.
Okay, and I get that, but again, she's not here tonight. Okay?
You're right,
She was
she's
fired
not
from her
because she got
position.
fired.
Okay, but again, we didn't know that that was the situation.
But
She
you,
came in to help, okay?
what you guys are doing is not questioning why you're doing what you're doing.
We're being told what to do by the way.
And you're following it blindly.
Like,
You didn't ask any questions at all before you've done this to our unit. And if anybody had gone to your unit and done the exact same thing, I don't think you'd be happy about it. I think you'd be sitting exactly where I'm at in my chair and saying, why did you do this to me? Oh, because we have a few numbers and somebody said, the wing commander called me up and said, let's go take over this unit. It needs to be done without any question why.
There was not no question why, okay?
Then tell us why.
That's not something that we are allowed to divulge at this time, okay? That is something that Colonel Plum is the one that is allowed to.
But you know?
divulge.
You know
But
why?
It is,
But you know why.
I know very general information, again, logistical.
Why? Where in the regulations are you not allowed to tell us why we got removed?
I don't know the specific details, I know generals.
Then give us the generals then.
And he has, and we have.
The general is
Logistical
something about
numbers,
logistics.
SUIs.
SUIs
Now,
Your last
2 years ago.
it was 2 years ago.
Exactly.
And
before he was even here.
a different commander.
And it got uploaded and it got corrected and it was approved. So is it standard process to fire a commander preemptively? Yes or no?
Again,
Is that something usually done in Civil Air Patrol?
change of command happens all the time.
No. Do you preemptively fire a squadron commander before they have a chance to fail the SUI?
The SUI is not in question here.
I'm sorry, she brought it up.
Fine. She brought up, yes, there were 16 findings last time. I assume they're all been fixed because obviously the units, obviously you weren't shut down, obviously.
Then why
that's-
bring it up at all if it's not an issue?
Because next SUI.
Because you're grasping at straws for a reason
No.
and you don't have one. You're trying to say it's general, some general reason. You accepted a general reason with no specifics to
Well,
come in here and do what you've done.
Then
Let's go to Colonel A.
well, no,
Go up to national.
no, we don't need to go up to national. There's no
Is that
reason.
really?
I don't.
You got a
that's-
complaint?
So you
With
think
all
that we
respect,
should accept
sir.
this situation?
Carl? There's a reason why you do it.
What is it?
What is it?
I'm not part of it.
No one does.
Okay, there you go.
Well, again, that's
There you go.
between you and Colonel Plum.
But it's
You're
not because
you're on
you
wing
told us
staff
anything.
and you're
You have to
accepting
give us an answer.
you're accepting the fact that there's no reason at all.
Nothing did.
I have no idea.
Yeah, he doesn't even.
Thank
give
you.
us a
Neither
chance.
do I.
So.
Neither do I.
So-
But nobody came into your squadron and did this to you
And-
either. Did they?
That's where we're at. Unfortunately, I can't
So-
read Colonel Plum's mind. I don't know what his reasons directly are.
Okay.
I happen to know commanders across the board. I've seen it done in Iowa. I've seen it done in Hawaii when I work with Hawaii people. You know, I've seen it done there.
That's just at random on a meeting night in front of all the cadets.
I don't
that's
know
how it's done.
Particulars.
Okay, but can you at least understand why we feel the way we
Yes, I
feel?
do understand why that is. Yes. I don't
Okay,
like
so
the way-
can you at least figure out some way to stop stepping on us all the time? You can at least, you want us to move forward and work with you, but you have not made that attempt. You actually have not. Because this is the first time we're sitting down a month later, face to face.
Yep, I've been here almost every week.
And so have I,
Okay.
whether you believe it or not. I'm here.
That's fine.
But the problem with it is that you keep trying to push what you want done. You told the parents that you were going to sit in the corner and observe. You got played the recording earlier. And now you're saying that you now have to, by force of some kind, who is forcing you to do the meeting plan so the cadets don't do it?
You really want to know the truth?
Yes.
You did. You actually took the calendar completely down.
What
parents-
calendar?
The Webby calendar.
What Webby calendar?
The Webby calendar, here, I actually have it pulled, I can pull it up, because I had to go to the Wayback Machine to actually find it.
Okay. Do you know why it's taken down?
Nope.
Okay.
Yep.
Then you need to go read the interim change letter that just happened. It came out from National.
Well-
that we have to have.
Yep.
What? What do we have to have? What do we have to do to our websites?
The website's already there, and it's still in production, and so is
Right. The one I took down was not a CAP approved website.
And I understand that.
So the calendar came down with the website because I was following the regulations because we were supposed to take it down. Did you email me and ask for access to the calendar, yes or no?
No, I did not.
Okay, so that's on you,
That's
not
fine.
on me.
And I will.
So now you just
No.
told me that it was me, but it's not me. Once again, you're doing the same thing that the wing commander is doing. You're trying to say it's me, but it's not me.
I'm not saying it's you. I'm saying that
You just
fine.
said it was him.
You know, at this point, I can do one of a couple things at this point. I can leave completely and let cards fall where they are, okay? Because obviously we're not making any headway, we're not going anywhere. And I don't want to do that, because again, this is a volunteer organization. I have other irons in the fire with CAP, trying to get things accomplished. But at the same time, you know, I'm doing this because of the cadets themselves, okay? I'm trying to make sure everything's taken care of. I'm trying to make sure things are followed by regulations. I'm trying to make sure everything's being followed, you know, showing all the different things that I am seeing. Yes, I'm looking at numbers because I'm an analyst. That's what I do. That's what I've always done. I'm an analyst, okay? That's just how I operate.
Do you have to think critically when you're an analyst?
Yes, I do. I
Okay.
do. I literally engineer lots of weird.
I question whether you thought critically about whether this was the right approach.
Again,
because
was
you
my call. No, it was
accepted-
probably a bad approach.
Okay.
And it was probably the wrong way, but
All right.
you know, this
Sir,
is
it
what-
was your call. You said yes.
You said yes.
I did say
This is
yes.
a volunteer
You said
organization.
I did
Then
say
he
no.
should have stuck with it. No, you can't be voluntold in a volunteer organization. Nope. He had every right to say no. He had every right to say no. He had every right to say no the same way the rest of us do. You have a right to say no.
More than once,
Then why is he here?
because he was forced to take over.
Forced to take over. By who?
Essentially, yes.
How is he forced? By what force?
He was made to take over.
By what force?
He was told by his upper, Colonel Plum, that he was taking over the unit.
That he was forced to do it. Under what penalty?
No penalty.
So he was not forced.
It was. You want to know the honest truth? Why? Because of the cadets. Okay. I have a soft spot for them. Okay.
No. Okay. So you think that somehow we're doing wrong, instead of coming out here and offering us your expertise, the only way you could help us is to follow Colonel Plum's command that he forced you to take command. You're not. Am I completely off on this, guys? He forced you by what? By your soft spot for the cadets. That's not force, my friend. That's not force. That is not force.
Well,
what was your alternative? Colonel Plum, I can come out there. I can help them to get their numbers up. I can even help guide them through the SUI process so that they can be sure to pass, if that's what it was. Yes?
That was part of the conversation. It was multiple conversations. I can't remember all of them.
But what conversations? You said you were told an hour ahead of time.
I was told an hour ahead of time that we're coming out, we're doing it this day, and that's when I told them, hey, they're having an open house. I don't know if it's accurate or not, and they're like, okay, we'll just wait till the end of the meeting, and then we'll have a conversation. You're supposed to have a conversation with you. I assume there was already previous conversations. Again, I don't know because, again, I'm not privy to that. So I don't know. So I cannot speak on behalf of what happened between you and Colonel Plum because I don't know, okay? That's personnel, that's something else, okay? So just to let you know. But yeah, I decided to take over the unit and that's what I did. Stephen Oppenheim was nice enough to become the deputy, okay?
Nice enough from your point of view.
Okay.
Definitely doesn't feel very nice from my side of the room.
I can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I understand it, so.
Appreciate that.
So.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know that this is going to
that's fine.
continue to be difficult.
Well, and it
Because it shouldn't, absolutely it should be. It should be absolutely difficult, given the circumstances of how all this went down.
Until it becomes transparent why we were relieved and what is going on, it's gonna be difficult. Because
Okay.
that's all the parents are asking.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, if you really want to work with the parents, what did they ask you to do?
Oh, I don't know. They completely yell at me about everything. So.
Why? Yeah, and we know why that is. Okay?
So.
But they have asked you to work with us, which you actually have not tried to do.
And to communicate, which has not happened.
You came in and tried to take over and be in command because you think that's what it means. Do you remember when we were cadets? Do you remember? Hold on. Do you remember vaguely? Do you remember what the leader?
ago.
No. Do you remember what the leadership book said? What is the difference between legitimate authority and earned authority?
It's based upon what the members think of you at the time. Okay? And I understand that. It's earned and not given. I understand that. Okay? I was asked to put the parents
you're not-
also asked, let me please finish. The parents asked me to put a plan together. I was trying to put a plan together. Obviously, even when I try to put a plan together, it's multiple problems. So, sorry, I'm on call.
A
So I
plan
apologize. Yeah.
involves all the stakeholders,
Mm-hmm.
which you have not done.
Well, and that's why I go through the numbers and I go, okay, let's look at the numbers and see if we can let's see the plan, and then let's see if
On your own and without us.
No.
Because we're not learning anything from your leadership. We're not learning anything from the way that you're choosing to handle this. You've come in and you've taken over. We've been treated like criminals. We're not
we are
allowed to go in the
learning the
building
wrong way
next
to do
door. Huh?
We are learning the wrong way to do it.
We're not. Why are we being treated like criminals?
You're not being treated like criminals.
Actually, that's not correct because
Okay.
they broke the locks on the building next door, changed the locks, and said we can only go in there under escort, which means that we're not trustworthy and we must be criminals. We're going to do something nefarious in there.
No.
How is that standard procedure, sir?
That is not the case. We did it for logistical reasons.
And I'm
That
a
is
logistics
not.
officer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
I'm
are
in
the
charge-
logistics officer.
And I'm in charge
so
of equipment, so
Yeah.
why didn't I get a key?
Well, as soon as we go over everything,
Why aren't you doing it with him, though?
Would it not be easy?
Wouldn't you
to
do
a
logistics with your logistics officer?
The old commander and logistics officer should have done a right seat, left seat for the inventory.
right?
That's a proper way to do something.
Right, that's why I
If
always
there's
do
any
the worksheets
discrepancies,
first.
it can be worked out right there.
Exactly.
You doing it first is me
1905.
signing a sworn
Or
statement.
1905 or
Whatever's
1905.
missing, you stole because you took the keys and locked the building.
And
Because that's the truth.
Not the case.
That's the truth.
But that's the way it would work in a logistics.
There is no other.
operation for the military.
Name me 3 squadrons in Nebraska Wing where they've gone in and broke the locks in order to do a basic change of command.
I'm not sure of any off the top of my head.
Okay,
So
but
at
you
the
did
moment,
say it was
so
standard procedure and that changes of command happen all the time.
They do happen all the time.
And they
Changes
change
happen
the
all
locks all the time?
When
They break
well,
the locks
when
all the time, and
Columbus
they
did
do
theirs,
inventory.
They changed a couple of locks.
And how many officers were there? How many senior members were at Columbus?
Yeah, and,
At the time, I don't know.
okay, and tell me which regulation specifies that you should change the locks and force members to go in under escort only? Where is that in the regulation for a standard change of command?
Well, I would have to look it up and see all that.
Two-way
stuff.
building that we were in charge of, and all the equipment we were in charge of for how many years?
Yeah.
And nothing's been missing or delinquent on the inventory.
Yeah. So I've said all I'm going to say,
Okay.
but where we're at is a pretty bad spot. We've been treated pretty poorly by all of you and by the wing commander, and your attempts to get us to cooperate have been lackluster at best. And the difficulty that we have is that you're not taking into consideration how it has affected us and your concern for my cadets, not the ones you recruited, not the ones that you took care of, not the ones that you paid for their membership, not the ones that you show up every week to help out, to train, to teach. My cadets. Your concern for them is so great that you fail to take the trusted adults that they have and incorporate them into the plan. You've done it all without us. You've removed us from the finance committee in a lickety split. You've done all the things. I'm not going to go any further, sir.
Okay,
You've
that's
done all
fine.
the things that you've done
Would you like
without.
to know why? Would you
No,
like to-
I know exactly why.
Good, because you got the emails. Everybody on the finance committee got the emails.
How much time did you give us, sir?
Let's see. The cadet needed to get their stuff taken care of within a couple days, and I allowed you to take care of that.
How much time did you give us to respond to your email, sir?
Gave you a couple days. I even waited a little.
Okay,
bit
what is your standard for responding to emails that you just told the parents outside?
I try to give 3 days.
3 days. Okay,
But
so
3
you gave us
days
less than the
would not-
standard that
would
you
not
give for
allow-
yourself. Do you understand?
3 days would not have allowed the cadet to get the stuff taken care of. Okay, and that's why I made the decision I made.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, if you feel it's wrong, it's wrong. Okay, if you feel it's wrong.
I'll tell you what, you want to build trust? Put us back on the finance committee.
Well, I'm working towards that right now. so-
Working towards that right
Yes,
now,
I
okay?
am. There's
All right.
a lot of things-
Can I have my key to the building back?
When the time comes, yes.
When the time comes, and when will that be, sir?
He already advised he's working on getting keys made next week.
The first I'm hearing it.
He
Okay.
advised, someone else earlier, I think it was.
Sure. Okay.
It might have been,
It was me.
Okay.
He said he didn't
Alright.
have keys
Okay,
yet.
didn't have keys made yet.
So we'll have keys next week,
I will work on
that's
that.
the goal.
Tell you
Okay.
what, if you don't have them
and we're allowed to go in the
I'll
building
take
without
them,
being
I'll go to
escorted.
Ace and have them made on my
Okay.
dime.
Are we?
I'll pay for it out of my
Yeah.
pocket.
Do you have a key to that building?
Which building?
That one right there.
Yes, I do.
All right. Will you take him down to Ace right now and do it?
No, not at this time.
Why?
Because I am not finished with whatever is going on right now, and as soon as I
Whatever
am-
is going on right now is
Yes.
what? What is going on right now?
Well, you know,
Like, what is going on?
Not only can he not because of the meeting going on right now, well, not just because of the meeting, I just looked up, Ace actually closed earlier today, so they're not even open right now to even go do the keys.
so
There are places that are open.
besides that,
I'm looking at
okay.
three, right here, they're all closed. There's
So-
Menards, I don't know if they make keys.
They do.
They do.
So, but at this time, I'm
They
not.
close at 9.
So
Yeah.
Okay.
So at
again,
this time,
I've given you the olive branch, and you're choosing not to take it.
Take it however way you wish. I'm sorry that you feel that way. Okay.
I don't believe you. I don't.
There's not much more I
You-
can
you
say
could-
then. Okay?
What is going on that you can't let us in the building right now?
Well, right now I'm in the middle of doing all the inventory stuff. I'm in the middle of...
By yourself and not with your
No,
logistics?
I've always had someone come with me.
Who?
The size of the equipment we have, you can do inventory in an hour.
I know. I was just locating
It's been
everything.
a month.
I understand that. It's
What?
fine.
If you're having trouble finding things, here's an idea, ask one of us.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
like I said, I'm sorry
Well-
to go in circles, but this is...
I've asked you to show some trust in us, and you're
Yeah.
not. And why is that? You said we're not being treated like criminals, and yet you don't choose to
Because
show
at this
any trust in
time,
us.
We were only supposed to have 2 sets of keys. Also, just an FYI, we did find ammunition, which is not any against regulations and stuff, but whoever it is, I just want to make sure that it's locked up in the safe right now.
It's the squadrons,
It's the-
because we have taught in the past.
Okay.
We have qualified, legally
Okay.
trained instructors, firearm instructors,
That's
and
fine.
have been teaching and have taught
Okay.
the cadets, and
Yeah,
actually
and
the
that's
cadets are
what-
asking for a second one.
That's what they figured, so that's why they were just put in this, back in the safe.
That's why you put it in the safe, that's all. So that's where it's at, no big deal. I just want to let you know, it's just uncommon. Usually I see 22s, stuff like that. I just don't normally see 45s. I'll see small buckshot for that type of thing, but, so I put everything in there. That's just where it's at. So I just want to make sure. I wasn't sure, so that's why I'm asking. There's no regulation against it, nothing like that.
We know that.
I know you know that.
Then why are you
just letting
saying
know
it?
that I did move it and I put it in the safe, okay? That's all I'm telling you.
Well,
Okay?
but again, why aren't you trusting us?
I'm not trusting you.
It is
There's
because
no
we're not allowed to
regulation-
come and go
there's
as we
no
please.
regulation that says there can only be 2 keys, 2 sets of keys.
No, at this time, there are only 2 sets of keys at this time.
Why?
Because that's the way I was asked to do it. That there
By
was 2
whom?
sets of keys.
Who?
Colonel Plum asked me to have
Colonel
it for
Plum,
those 2 sets
okay.
of keys. He's
Well,
the one
that's-
who gave me the keys to start with.
So, okay, what I take from that is that because on the orders of Colonel Plum, you're choosing not to trust us. But do you understand that your lack of trust in us makes it difficult for us to move forward? You're not demonstrating. Listen, it's not about you saying that you trust us. It's about demonstrating through an act. And you haven't done anything to show that you trust us. Not
I
one
live
thing.
5 minutes from here. I could be on the nets on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I don't have keys to get into the building.
Yeah.
That's why Ready Op's available.
I don't have.
That's
radio
not why
ops.
Ready Op's available.
no, Ready
That's
Ops
not
is-
why Ready Op's available.
But why do we have
beyond
all
that.
these radios? We have this communications room and all this. That's actually, a lot of it was asked for by the region and national.
Yep.
A lot of the equipment, and it's a region communication center, but we can't get keys to get into it.
Right. So your reasons are not strong,
Well,
but
and I unfortunately, I guess we're at a standstill at this point.
we are.
I
Thank you very
apologize.
much for your time.
No, thank you.